This week I was in Dollar Tree and I found these cool little house-shaped frames. This reminded me of a few wooden lanterns that I saw online that I really wanted to try to make. So today I want to show you how I use those frames to make a lantern with a door that you can open and close. You can put a candle in it and hang it from the ceiling. And this will be another fun piece to go with the beautiful lanterns I made last week to go on my screened-in porch this summer. For this project, I'm using 4 Dollar Tree house-shaped frames, craft sticks, satin ribbon, a little bit of silver pearl wrap. These you could get from Walmart, some jewelry tools, round and needle nose pliers and side cutters, and silver wire at 16 gauge. I am also using Gorilla Clear Grip glue and a hot glue gun with Gorilla Glue sticks. Okay, so I have 4 of these Dollar Tree frames and I'm taking the backing off these. And we're not going to throw these backends away, we're going to set these aside to use them later. I'm also going to use some pliers to pry out these little pieces here to keep the backends in so that my frame is nice and smooth. For just 3 of the frames, I want to attach the glass to the frame. So I'm going to use a little hot glue and put a bead along the inside edge all the way around. And I'm going to place and press the glass frame inside each one of them. Now after attaching the glass to all 3 pieces, I want to put these frames together to make a house shape. Since the wood on here is painted and has a smooth finish, I'm going to use a little sandpaper to sand the part that I'm going to glue together. It'll just help it stick better. I'm going to put a line of Gorilla Clear Grip glue right in the middle and hot glue right on the edges. Now I'll glue the pieces together so that the bottom edge lines up and the inside edges are flush together. The outside corners will hang over a little bit. So I'm going to set those 3 pieces that I glued together aside to dry completely, and with this 4th frame I'm going to make a door out of it. This part will be the frame and the glass will be the door that'll be able to open and close. To turn this glass into a door, I'm using these craft sticks. I want to make something that looks like a glass door with windows, so I'm going to arrange the craft sticks around until I get something that I like. So I decided to put a wooden frame line down the middle, and I'm using this T-square to make sure my pieces are straight. And I'm just going to use a little Gorilla Clear Grip glue and I place these 2 sticks right down the center. Then I'm going to put 2 pieces to make a cross shape adjacent to where the center of the last 2 pieces meet. I'm going to make sure those are straight, and I'm using my pencil to mark where the edges are so that I could cut these pieces and glue them down. So I just went through each section and measured the spaces and cut pieces to fit until I had a frame that looks like this. Now I did this frame only on one side of the glass, so the edge of the glass is still pretty sharp and I don't want to cut my hand on it when I'm opening the door. So what I want to do is cover up the sharp edge of the frame, and I'm going to use this satin ribbon to do that and to also give it a decorative border. Starting with the sides, I'm going to measure and cut the ribbon so that it fits exactly on each side section. And then I'll put some hot glue right on the edge and glue the ribbon down so half of it is on one side and the other half will turn over to the back side of the frame. And I'll do that for each section. Now I do think I want to cover up the back side of this glass where you can see the glue marks on the opposite side. So I'm going to put some ribbon right down the middle here. There. Now I think that's a pretty nice looking door. And the edges are smooth. You won't have to worry about cutting yourself. Now next I need to figure out a way to be able to open and close this door. So I need to make hinges for the door, but it fits pretty perfectly inside the frame. So I think I will make the hinges using the same ribbon. So I cut 2 pieces of ribbon about 3 inches long, and I'm going to fold the pieces in half. Put a line of hot glue right in the center and press that together just right at the end to make a little tab. And right at the center on the back I'm going to use a little E6000 and some hot glue on the edges to glue that tab part down to the inside of the frame, right at the top of where the door hinge would go. And the second one I'll glue lower where the bottom hinge would go. I'm also going to use a staple to reinforce it, just because this is a hinge and the door will be opening and closing a lot. Now on top of the staple and inside the frame, I'm going to put a little Gorilla Clear Grip glue and some hot glue on the edges. And I'm going to take that one part of the ribbon and open it up and push it down to kind of mold it against the frame that's on the inside, and open up the ribbon so that it is flush against the frame and has the shape of the inside of the frame. And I'm doing the same to that bottom hinge. I am also going to put a staple right at the top part of the inside of that edge. I used a hammer just to make sure the staple is flat inside that piece. Now I'm going to put a little glue on the outside of the frame so that I could glue part of the ribbon to the outside of the frame. I also put a couple of staples on that outside edge. Okay, so now it's time to attach my door. I'm going to place the door right inside the frame, and I put a little glue above that staple on the outside edge. I'm going to press that down onto the outside frame. I cut the ribbon so that it's neat and doesn't go beyond the door. And now I'm going to put some glue on the ribbon to attach it to the door. Now I have the front part of the hinge attached. Now I'm going to flip this over, and I want to open this up to it's like the door is fully open at a right angle, and I'm going to cut the ribbon so that it doesn't go beyond the frame. Then I'm going to put glue on just the door where the ribbon will meet it, and glue the ribbon down on the door. So now I have the hinges attached on the inside and outside, and there's room for the door to open and close all the way. Now to make these hinges look a little more like hardware, I have this silver pearl wrap, and I'm going to cut a few pieces and place it on the hinges to make them look more like hinges. Now I'm also going to use this ribbon to make a little latch for the door. So I'm cutting a piece of ribbon about 8 inches, and I'm gluing the top part of it on the right side of the door where the cross frame is, right at the edge. Then I'm going to put some more glue at the top of that ribbon and slightly above it, and I'm going to fold that ribbon up and press it down on the glue so that the ribbon is facing upward. Next, I'm going to cut another piece of ribbon and put some hot glue and the Gorilla Glue on the frame, the outside frame, and I'm going to glue the tip of that ribbon adjacent to the other piece of ribbon, going horizontally, and then put another piece of glue on top of that and fold that inward just on the frame and glue that down so that that piece is going inward towards the door. Now that same piece I want to loop over towards the frame. I want the loop to be big enough for the top ribbon to fit through, barely, and I am going to put some glue on the outside of that ribbon. I'm folding the inward, and I'm going to glue that ribbon down, and that will make a loophole for my latch. Now the top part of the ribbon that's attached to the door will go through the hole and just sort of lock the door, help to keep it closed. But I'm going to put a little silver bead at the end just to decorate it and weight it down a little bit. So I rolled the ends of the ribbon in a little really tight, and I'm going to force the ribbon through the bead and then tie a knot at the very end of the bead and cut off the excess ribbon. And there I have a little latch for my door, and it can easily be latched and unlatched to keep the door open or closed. Now before I attach the door frame to the rest of the house, I want to do something else while this is still open. I need a way to hang this from the ceiling or a wall if I wanted to hang it up. So I need something to attach, something like a roof. So I am going to use ribbon to make little loops in the corners at the top of the house. So I'm cutting 4 long pieces, enough to wrap around the front and the back of the seams and to make a little loop. Again, I'm sanding the wood just a little bit to help it stick better. And I'm using a clear grip glue in the center of the seam and hot glue on the outer edges. And I'm placing the ribbon right over that seam. I want the bottom part of this ribbon to extend beyond the bottom because I want it to overlap and go around the bottom, and of course the top is longer at the top because it's going to go all the way around. And I want to leave enough room right here at the top to make a little loop. Then I'm going to put some glue on the outside seams and wrap that ribbon around the other side, and then cut and glue the ribbon at the bottom. Also, since I didn't use any nails on this piece, the ribbon will help keep the side pieces together. Now I have a little loop here that I could put attach something to hang from the ceiling. So I'm going to do this on every corner of this piece. Now before I do the other 2 corners, I do need to attach the door, so I'm going to sand the wood a little bit and attach the door the same way I did the other sides. I'm going to place this door right on top so that the bottom is lined up. The insides won't be flush because I turned the frame of this door the opposite way, but I want the outsides to look the same as the other sides. I'm just using a craft stick to clean up that excess glue. And now I can wrap the ribbon around these 2 corners. And I have these 4 little loops extending around each of the corners of the house, and I could attach something to that to hang the piece. I also decided to attach ribbon at the top of each sides, and I'm going to do that in brown. It would have been easy if I'd done this part first, but now I'm going to have to push the little loops back and tuck the ribbon in underneath the little loops. And again, I'm leaving a little bit of a loop at the top, and this will give me something extra to attach my roof and to hang the piece. Now for the roof, I am going to use wire to create the roof. This is a 16 gauge wire, so it's a thick wire. You could use Dollar Tree wire. Last video I used it and I kind of doubled it up because it was kind of thin, but I found this at Walmart for $1.99 and I thought this might work better, so I'm going to try this. I'm going to cut 2 pieces that are about 28 inches long, and I found the center of each and I'm twisting it a couple of times together. Next, I'm extending the wires out to make a cross shape. Then I'm going to gently bend and stick the wires through the top loops. Wow, this wire is a lot thicker than I thought, so it's not very easy to bend. Now I'm going to bend these up by the end of the loop and then sort of bend them in towards the center. Next, I'm bringing them all to a center point and I'm sort of twisting them around together. I'm taking one of those pieces and I'm going to roll it around the neck of these pieces. And I'm using my needle nose pliers to do this since this wire is very hard. I'm just going to use my fingers and my pliers to kind of wrap it around as neatly as I can. Then I'm going to curve and tuck the end of that wire in. With the remaining 3 wires, I did sort of a loose braid. And I'm bending that over to make a circle loop. And I'm wrapping the end pieces around the neck. And you're going to need your jewelry tools, your pliers, and your side cutters to cut and to curl the end pieces inward. Now for each corner, I'm going to cut 2 pieces that are about 24 inches long. I'm threading that through the loop, and I'm going to bend both of them inward from the center. With one of the pieces, I'm going to crisscross over itself, and then one at a time wrap each piece around the top neck twice, and then down. And with my round nose pliers, I'm going to take each end of those 2 pieces and I'm going to curl it inward to make a little curl design. And then I just sort of link them together by twisting them into each other. Now with the second 2 pieces of wire, I'm going to do the same thing, but instead of twisting it around the neck, I'm going to twist it around the lower part of the center wire and then bring it back around the front. And I'm also going to curl those ends. Then I'll sort of move those curls around and in through the wires and make a nice design, something that looks like this. And I did that for each side. And now I have a nice cage top roof, something that I could put a candle in, it can breathe, and I can also hang this if I want. Now I didn't do a great job with the wires around the neck, so I think I want to put a bow around that neck piece, and that'll help tie the whole thing together. It'll make it pretty at the top. So I'm going to tie a little bow up here, but I want to make sure that the ends are not long, that they don't extend into the cage, because there will be a lit candle there. I don't want it to burn the ribbon, so I'm going to cut the ends pretty short. Now the wire will get hot from the candle. The ribbon and the material, the wood won't, or the glass will not get hot from the candle, but the wire will. But with the wire it won't burn, so the ribbon will burn if it touches the flame. You want to make sure that the material doesn't touch the flame. Now the very last piece for this is the floor. I have to create the floor, but before I do that, I'm going to clean the glass really well inside before I close it up. And to make the bottom, I'm just going to use the cardboard that came with the frames. I'm going to gently pull the pieces off the back of each one, and I'm going to use my hot glue to glue two pieces together. I'm gluing the black sides together. Okay, so now I glued all four pieces together, and I have two thicker pieces, and I'm going to glue those two pieces together. But I'm gluing a second piece horizontally across the center. I added too much glue at the top. But now I have a really thick piece of cardboard. I'm going to place the house on top of the cardboard and center it. Then I'm going to trace the house bottom, outside, and inside edges. Now for the part that's the thickest, I'm going to cut the inside edge on the sides, and I'm using my X-Acto knife for this. And then for the bottom thinner layer, I'm going to cut the outside line. So when I attach the house to this, the inside highest level would sit up inside the piece, and I could glue the sides, and those thinner pieces that extend out can glue directly to the bottom of two sides of the piece. Again, I'm going to sand the bottom and the insides a little so that this will stick very well. Put in a little glue on the inside bottom sides of the house and on the cardboard, and then hot glue also on the outer edges. Then I'm going to place the house on top and center it so that the higher piece is inside and touching the sides, and the bottom part is flush with the bottom part of the piece. I'm also going to pipe in some hot glue all around the inside to seal up the edges. Now with all the hot glue and the hose and the cardboard, the floor doesn't look very pretty. So I'm going to create a floor by using strips of ribbon. I'm using the rest of my brown. The strips make it look a little like a hardwood floor, and I'll border the edges with the silver ribbon. Now I think I'm all done. I'll just add a lit candle, close the latch, and it's ready to hang. In my next video, I'll be decorating my screened-in porch. So see you next time. Need a little more detailed instructions on some of these projects? On my Etsy store, for just a few dollars, you can get instant digital downloads of full color step-by-step instructions with templates for some of your favorite projects. And check out my Amazon page where you can pick up my multi-surface acrylic metallic paint, back in stock with 8 beautiful shimmering colors. You can mix millions of colors and create endless home beauty for indoor and outdoor projects. And while you're there, pick up my Book of Elegant Home Crafts Volume 1 with all your favorite projects together in one big beautiful colored step-by-step instruction book. On my Amazon page, you'll see all my favorite crafting tools and supplies used on this show, and you can add them all to your cart for the one-click, fast and easy shopping and delivery convenience of Amazon. I'll be working every day to make crafting fun and easy for you. Follow me at Your House of Home and Your House of Home TV on all social media for extra home, food, and gardening tips.